Okay, guys, so I just finished up watching a movie that I can't believe I'm only now saying I've watched for the first time. This is a movie that I've been wanting to check out for some time now. I certainly hear about it all the time. It's a classic 80s movie, and I'm only now just seeing it. I just finished this up. I watched 3 O'Clock High. I know! Why am I now only getting around to watching this? Well, I think there's a few reasons. One, because this was one of the last, kind of quintessential 80s movies I picked up. I just, for some reason, never came across a copy of this, and only a few years ago did I finally get a copy on DVD, so probably why it took me a little while to get around to it, because when I was working on watching all those great 80s movies, I mean, certainly many of them I grew up with as a kid, Ferris Bueller, Breakfast Club, stuff like that I've seen a million times. There were those 80s movies that for some reason, growing up in the 80s, escaped me and that I never saw. I got around to watching most of them, but then this one here kind of escaped me because I just couldn't find a copy of it, and by the time I did, I sort of had moved on to watching other stuff. I kind of was out of that 80s movie phase. So, the reason why I had to watch this one was because of the movie Fist Fight. I did watch that, and in reviewing it, a lot of you guys left comments saying I liked it the first time I saw it when it was called 3 O'Clock High. And I was like, wait a minute, so it's kind of like a remake? I had no idea, so I had to watch the original. And now that I did, I see where you're all coming from. Yes, Fist Fight is 110% just a remake of this movie. The only difference is, in Fist Fight, is 2 teachers fighting. In this movie, it's 2 kids fighting. Otherwise, it's the same thing. There's a new kid who comes to school, and, he's the big, sort of, tough guy and whatnot, and the nerdy kid in school ends up kind of getting on his bad side, and now the bully wants to beat him up, and he spends the entire movie trying to get out of this fight, everything from trying to set the bully up, to trying to get detention, to doing all this stuff to get himself to not have to be at this fight at 3 o'clock, until finally at the very end he decides to sort of man up and say, well, it is what it is. Instead of wussing out of this fight, I'm gonna go on to him. I know I'm gonna get my butt kicked, but at least I kind of manned up and, I'm here. So, again, very similar to Fist Fight. If you've seen Fist Fight, you've seen 3 O'Clock High. And if you've seen 3 O'Clock High, you've seen Fist Fight. Again, just with teachers fighting in Fist Fight and kids fighting in 3 O'Clock High. So did I enjoy it? Yes, I did. Pretty much just as much as I enjoyed, and much as I enjoyed Fist Fight. I wouldn't say this movie is, it isn't, how to describe this? It isn't quite the 80s greatness that I'm used to. I certainly watch movies, again, like I said, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles and things like that. These movies that I love and I think are just such great 80s movies. This one here definitely has that 80s feel. Obviously it's shot in the 80s, taking place in the 80s. Everybody is very 80s in this movie, which I love. But it just, I don't know, it just seemed like more just a fun sort of movie as opposed to hey, 80s. And for that reason, maybe I didn't get into it as much, but I still really enjoyed it. And I think it's a great 80s film, and I would recommend checking this one out. It was a lot of fun. So pretty much that's the gist of the movie. Again, nerdy kid ends up getting on the wrong side of a new kid coming to school who's this big, tough bully. He's got this reputation, and now there's going to be a fight, spending the entire movie trying to get out of this fight, and then manning up at the very end, and I won't necessarily spoil the end for you, although if you've seen Fist Fight, you kind of know how it's probably going to turn out. But I won't completely spoil the ending for you. But fun ending as well that I really enjoyed it. So would I recommend checking out 3 O'Clock High? I most certainly would. If you were a fan of 80s movies, it is one to see. Like I said, it doesn't quite, in my opinion, have that that 80s oomph or whatever I'm thinking of when I think of movies again, like 16 Candles or Ferris Bueller or Breakfast Club or something like that. But it is still a great 80s film that I would say it's definitely worth seeing. I'm sure many of you have seen it. I don't know why it's taken me so long. I really should have got around to watching this one a long time ago, but luckily, thanks to you guys letting me know that Fist Fight was literally a remake of this, and my gosh, yes it was. I'm watching this movie thinking, wow, they took every scene out of this movie and put it into Fist Fight for the most part. A few things switched around here or there, but it's more or less the same exact script for the most part. So thanks to you guys letting me know that was a remake of this. I knew I finally had to get around to checking this one out. It has been way too long, and it definitely jumped up on my must-see list. So 3 O'Clock High, if you like the 80s, this is one you should check out.